Tokyo mornings were always the same. Hustle, noise, and trains, so packed that even breathing felt like a luxury. For Hina, a young art student, the metro was her daily battlefield. She carried a heavy bag filled with sketchbooks and paints, and on this particular morning she was relieved to spot the last available seat. Dropping her bag with a sigh, she settled in, unaware that this ordinary ride would change her life forever. At the very next stop, an elderly man struggled his way onto the train. He clutched the handrail tightly, his frail frame swaying as the train lurched forward. Hina noticed that no one moved to offer him a seat. She hesitated for only a second before standing. "Please, sir, take my seat," she said kindly. The man blinked at her in surprise, as if such an act of kindness was foreign to him, then slowly lowered himself onto the chair. He mumbled something Hina couldn't quite understand, but the gratitude in his eyes was unmistakable. Yet, as the train rattled on, something unsettled her. Every time she glanced back, she found the old man staring at her silently, intently, as though trying to remember her face. She brushed it off, telling herself he was just old and lonely. But when the train reached his stop, Hina instinctively helped him to his feet. The man gave a deep bow of thanks before disappearing into the crowd. Smiling faintly, Hina thought her good deed was done. But she had forgotten something, her bag. She rushed back into the carriage, relieved to find it still there. As she lifted it, her eyes caught on something else lying on the seat where the old man had sat, a plain white envelope. With no name written on it, she assumed it belonged to him. She tucked it into her bag, intending to return it later. At school, she barely had time to catch her breath before her classmates surrounded her. "Hina, you're on TV!" one girl shouted, dragging her to a screen. There it was, surveillance footage from the subway. It showed her giving up her seat, helping the old man, and finally picking up the envelope. Then the video cut to the man himself, speaking directly to the camera. His words sent chills through her. "I left behind something very important. To the girl who found it, please, return it to me. It means everything." Hina's hand flew to her bag. The envelope was still there, unsealed. She peeked inside and froze. It wasn't money, it wasn't papers, it was an ornate, ancient-looking key. Her curiosity burned, but so did her sense of duty. She rushed back to the station where she had last seen him, her heart pounding as she scanned the platforms. And there he was, sitting quietly on a bench as though he had been waiting for her. Breathless, she approached him and held out the envelope. His eyes widened, shimmering with gratitude. "Thank you, young lady," he said, his voice trembling. "This key, it has been in my family for generations." Hina hesitated, then whispered the question burning inside her. "What does it open?" The man paused, his lips curling into a faint smile. "Come with me, and you will see." The man's words lingered in the air, and though Hina's instincts told her to be cautious, her curiosity was stronger. Something about the way he spoke, calm, deliberate, yet tinged with emotion, made her trust him. So she followed. Together, they boarded another train and traveled across the city in near silence. The man clutched the envelope to his chest as though it were life itself. Finally, they arrived at a stately old bank, the kind that seemed untouched by time. With a quiet nod, the man greeted the manager, who led them down a corridor lined with heavy steel doors. When the vault door creaked open, Hina's breath caught in her throat. Inside lay treasures she had only ever seen in books, gilded boxes, gemstones, and relics that shimmered in the dim light. But what drew her eyes wasn't the gold. It was a small, intricate statue of a Japanese deity, carved with extraordinary detail, sitting proudly on a pedestal. The old man turned to her, his face softened by a smile. "This statue has been in my family for centuries. It survived wars, fires, and earthquakes. And today, because of you, it survived once more." To Hina's astonishment, he lifted the statue and placed it gently into her hands. "This belongs to you now, as a token of my gratitude." She shook her head in disbelief. "I can't accept something so valuable." But the man only chuckled. "Its true value is not in its worth, but in the kindness it represents. You gave me your seat, you returned my key, and you reminded me that goodness still exists in this world. That is worth more than gold." Though overwhelmed, Hina accepted the gift, vowing to treasure it always. Over the next months, she often found herself gazing at the statue, wondering about the generations who had guarded it before her. Eventually, curiosity led her to an appraiser who revealed the staggering truth. The statue was a priceless Edo period masterpiece, valued at over 100. Hina was stunned. She could never dream of selling it. Its value to her was not measured in money, but in the kindness of the old man and the bond they had formed. But peace never lasts forever. One evening, months later, Hina returned home to find her window ajar, and her heart sank when she looked toward the cabinet where the statue stood. It was gone. In its place was a single note, scrawled in messy handwriting, "You will never see it again." Her hands trembled as she picked up the phone and called the only person she knew who could help the old man. Within hours, he was at her door, his eyes sharper than she had ever seen them. "Don't worry," he said calmly. "We will get it back. I know the kind of men who took this." Over the next days, the old man worked tirelessly, calling on contacts Hina never knew he had. He whispered to collectors, dealers, and even those who lived in the city's shadows. Finally, he found a lead. The statue had been sold into the black market, hidden in a warehouse on the outskirts of town. Together, under cover of night, they ventured to the warehouse. The old man distracted the dealers with his words while secretly alerting the police. Moments later, the sirens wailed, and the criminals were surrounded. Amid the chaos, Hina spotted her statue, untouched, waiting for her. When she held it again, relief washed over her like a tide. She turned to the old man, tears brimming in her eyes. "I don't know how I can ever thank you." He smiled, that same gentle smile from the train months ago. "You already did the moment you offered me your seat." That night, Hina placed the statue back in its rightful place. But to her, it was no longer just a priceless relic. It was a symbol of fate, of kindness repaid, and of a bond that spanned generations. And as she drifted into sleep, she realized that sometimes the smallest act of kindness can unlock the most extraordinary stories.